Hello then, welcome back to the Star Wars What If reaction. Today, we're reacting to What If Anakin Skywalker and Obi Wan Kenobi were brothers, created by the Star Wars Galaxy. Be sure to check him out, links in the description, and I cannot wait to see what he's created for this What If. Let's jump right in.
Our story begins on the world Stujon, in the deep core of the galaxy.
Yo, Stujon, that's where Obi-Wan was born, man. Let's go.
It was a civilized planet, though nowhere near Coruscant,
Okay.
more like Kashyyyk, with people living in the forests
Oh,
and huts
interesting.
or other small homes.
Okay.
And in one of these villages, a pair of brothers were born roughly a year apart.
Okay.
They were named Obi Wan and
So that's how he's gonna make this work. He's gonna make them be born on Obi-Wan's planet. Interesting, okay.
Anakin. Are you looking for some new high-quality Star Wars art for your
What is
house?
this?
Well, then look no further than Gallery 94.
Okay.
From an awesome variety of canvas or art prints, Gallery 94 brings you Star Wars landscapes
Yo.
that fit anywhere in your house
That looks
without
cool.
sacrificing any style. When Gallery 94 sent me one
Look at those lightsabers, bro. Look. This is
of their
cool.
landscapes, I was genuinely so impressed with it that I went out and immediately
Yo,
bought
that's
another
so
one.
big.
And it wasn't easy to choose, just because of all of the options that are so intriguing and beautiful, with details that only fans will be able to catch and
Wow.
appreciate. We've got the Endor Forest with an Imperial transport, Hoth with a crashed Star Destroyer,
Oh.
Dagobah with Yoda's hut,
Yo.
Bespin with Cloud City, Scarif with the Citadel Tower,
Yo.
and of course Tatooine with Kenobi's hut. But they're all so
Oh,
well done, and the
that's
artists
so
of these
cool.
landscapes wanted to create Star Wars art.
Honestly, $68 for a big giant one isn't that bad. $38 for like...
That his interior design wife would be proud to
We're
hang in the
reacting to the
living
store
room.
now.
And that's extremely relatable to me, as my girlfriend is much more open to these being placed all around the house, since they're not right in your face. These canvases are super high quality, and the sizes go all the way up to 40 by 60 inches,
Super cool.
and also are available as a 3-panel triptych. And whether you want Hoth,
Yo.
Endor, Tatooine, or any other one, you can get 15% off your order by using
Yo, I
code
might buy this.
GALAXY15, or by clicking the link in the description. Once again, that is code GALAXY15, or click the link in the description for 15% off
Very
your
cool.
new beautiful Star Wars landscapes. With Obi-Wan being older by a year, their early lives were peaceful, living with a mother and a father that neither of them would remember the names of.
Okay.
And the two
that's how
brothers
it's gonna
would
go.
grow together for roughly 3 years on Stujon.
But
One
so
day.
Anakin is he like gonna be the chosen one still? So maybe Obi-Wan was supposed to be born, but then they also received Anakin a year later because of what Plagueis and Palpatine did with the Sith magic stuff. But they did it earlier, I guess, because well, Obi-Wan is like what, 8 years? Yeah, a few years older than Anakin.
When their father went out hunting, and the mother was at the local well to gather some water, young Anakin convinced Obi-Wan to check out a nearby cave he discovered.
Okay.
Obi-Wan, reluctant to disobey his parents, followed Anakin to the cave
Of course, Obi-Wan is gonna be the obeying one, Anakin the rebellious one.
anyways, and inside, they would find an amazing waterfall, lit up by a hole in the top. It was one of the greatest things they ever saw at their young age, and they wanted to climb up to the top.
Maybe it's a force
The
cave.
climb was dangerous, but the two brothers trusted each other with their lives.
Okay.
They were extremely close with each other, and as Obi-Wan climbed, he slipped on a wet rock, and the entire wall that he was climbing began to fall apart.
Shit.
Obi-Wan reached out, grabbing onto a ledge to avoid falling, but he was slipping. Anakin reached out for his hand,
Anakin's
but
gonna
Obi-Wan
use the
couldn't
Force.
grab it. The ledge came loose. Obi-Wan fell, but Anakin reached out desperately for Obi-Wan, and this time he did catch him. Not with his hands,
With the Force.
but with something else. Anakin didn't know what it was, but at just 4 years old, something in him unlocked.
Yo.
Anakin was able to pull Obi-Wan up, and the brothers sat here in fear before laughing in excitement
He's a chosen
as
one.
Obi-Wan told Anakin he's going to be a Jedi.
Let's go.
Days later, Obi-Wan was alone in the forest, trying desperately to use the Force like Anakin, but he had no luck.
This makes very much sense because Obi-Wan wasn't actually... He was actually pretty weak in the Force. He didn't have that of a large midichlorian count. He had like the average or maybe even below average, which is very interesting as he is one of the best Jedi. So,
After the initial moment of excitement, Obi-Wan realized that Anakin was different. He had a power.
well, don't be so sure yet, Obi-Wan, because when a Jedi finds y'all, he's going to test you too, and he's going to find out that you also have a high enough midichlorian count to be a Jedi.
Obi-Wan was jealous. While Obi-Wan was struggling in the forest, a mysterious ship landed in the village nearby.
A Jedi.
And Obi-Wan watched as 3 robed people emerged.
Yoda,
2 grown
Mace.
men, and a creature that Obi-Wan thought looked like a frog.
Yo,
But as he
Yoda.
got closer, he realized these were Jedi, and they were talking with his family. Days ago, The Jedi felt a ripple or vergence in the Force
They
as
felt
Anakin
Anakin.
unlocked his abilities. He was extremely powerful, and after the
It's
Jedi
Dooku
agreed to a
and Yoda.
midichlorian test, Jedi Masters Dooku, Jin, and Yoda were shocked to find his count was higher than all 3 of the Jedi.
It's literally one of the 3 coolest Jedi that just came here.
Including Yoda. The family would agree to send Anakin to become a Jedi.
What about Obi-Wan?
And when Obi-Wan heard this, he ran out to say goodbye. He was still jealous.
Test
but
him.
Now he was scared and confused.
Test
But
Obi-Wan.
when the Jedi saw Obi-Wan show up, they agreed to test him as well.
Yes.
And they were surprised to see that Obi-Wan was also strong in the Force, though not quite near Anakin's M count.
Yeah.
Either way, Obi-Wan was happy to hear this, and this would be the final time they saw their parents. Their lives as Jedi brothers would soon begin in the Grand Jedi Temple,
That's really cool.
a building that far exceeded the cave the 2 of them explored, and they would begin initial training in the Kaiba clan of the
So
Younglings.
I feel like Obi-Wan is still going to be trained by Qui-Gon and maybe Anakin by Dooku, or maybe by Yoda. Although maybe by Dooku this time because Yoda is still going to keep his promise of Dooku being his last apprentice.
A group of around 20 they were assigned with, and it wouldn't take long for Anakin to be at the top of his class. The first lessons were mainly spent in meditation, trying to find the Force within oneself, trying to put into words what it feels like. Anakin would find the Force to be like a dragon, or a giant wave of water, or a
Okay.
shield, while Obi-Wan would describe the Force as evasive, mysterious, distant. Obi-Wan had a lot of trouble finding it, and his frustrations only mounted as Anakin was so good at everything right away. When it came to lifting objects, Obi-Wan and most of the others were moving the blocks very slowly, while Anakin and a couple others were having much more success. Anakin at one point even began to tease Obi-Wan, leading Obi-Wan to push his brother to the ground, and Master Yoda had to step in to calm them down. While Anakin and Obi-Wan would spend all of their days as regular younglings, the Jedi Council focused a great many discussions on their future. These 2 brothers were powerful in their own ways, but both also harbored an anger inside of them, and they would need to turn that anger into focus.
Obi-Wan was actually pretty rebellious, I know, as a Padawan, but then, he became the negotiator.
It would be a challenge to train them someday. The 2 of them would progress through the years as younglings, and by the time they were 10 years old, Obi-Wan was already sneaking away from his room every night to get a few extra hours of training in. He was extremely...
That's actually what Obi-Wan did, he did in Star Wars. He snuck away to train extra much because he pushed himself, and I'm pretty sure that's why Qui-Gon picked him, because Obi-Wan just cared so much.
dedicated, and although Anakin was much more powerful with his M count, Obi-Wan dedicated himself to watching other Jedi and training much harder to the point that he and Anakin were clearly the top of their youngling class, with a ton of promise for the future. And as their training progressed, their sibling rivalry with each other also grew. They were constantly competing with each other, trying to see who would come out on top in duels or competitions within the Force.
So they basically are still kind of the Obi-Wan and Anakin we know. Brothers, but actual brothers, and they know each other better than anybody. They are the perfect duo, the best duo, and they know every single thing about each other.
Both were very strong in combat, but finding the peace and serenity in the Force would become a major challenge for both. They saw being a Jedi as being powerful, and so when the time came to travel to Ilum for their lightsaber crystals, Grand Master Yoda would take the 2 of them alone, after another council discussion about how the brothers' power needs to be heavily monitored. When they stood in front of the Ice Temple, Yoda ordered them to go in there, and the Force will show them the way to their crystals. So the 2 Jedi went into the temple, and almost immediately, they began trying to shove past each other, trying to get to their crystal first.
Come on, guys.
After searching alone forever, neither of them found a crystal until they entered a room of ice at the same time. And 2 crystals stood atop a rocky wall, right next to a large opening at the top of the cave. Anakin and Obi-Wan looked to each other with excitement, and then they began climbing the wall. But as they climbed, the ice began to crack, the wall around them shattered. Anakin slipped and was barely able to hold on to a ledge, and Obi-Wan looked from Anakin to the crystals.
I feel like plot twist Obi-Wan is gonna instead of trying to be I'm gonna be first, he's actually gonna help Anakin, and it's gonna show that Obi-Wan is a more caring one.
Crystals sat on a melting platform and were seconds away from falling forever. Obi-Wan looked from the crystals to Anakin once more, and he decided to let the crystals fall, instead reaching out, saving Anakin from falling. The two brothers hugged each other, realizing they would rather have each other instead of some crystal. But soon they realized this was the test. At the doorway waiting for them were their two crystals. The test was to choose each other instead of fight. And Yoda was proud that they succeeded, seeing hope in the students to become great Jedi in due time. When the time came for them to be chosen by a master as Padawans, their youngling
Obi-Wan's gonna be chosen by Qui-Gon, Anakin by Dooku.
clan went through a series of tests, including a sparring tournament. Every opponent that Anakin and Obi-Wan faced would lose to them pretty quickly, until there were only two left. And the two of them, knowing each other so well,
no one is gonna win. They're going to stalemate. Anakin, the master of attack. Obi-Wan, the master of defense. Like, no one is winning.
Would spar for 20 minutes with no winner.
Wow.
Neither of them separating at all, until finally, it was called as a draw.
Yep.
The two of them would stand waiting, as a Jedi Master, Qui-Gon Jinn came up and accepted both of them as his Padawans. This was immediately questioned by the Council, as it was against the code to have two Padawans at once. But ultimately, Yoda would accept it on behalf of the Council, after being with the brothers on Ilum, and Master Qui-Gon would begin training Anakin and Obi-Wan. The differences and the similarities between the two were super intriguing, but Qui-Gon quickly would become much more accustomed to training Anakin. Despite being only 12, Obi-Wan was extremely by the book. That's the type of Jedi he was, and after dedicating years to training alone and researching everything he could, Obi-Wan determined that the best way to grow was by learning and by ensuring respectful Jedi tradition was at the forefront of everything. Anakin, on the other hand, was much more loose and reckless, and he enjoyed Qui-Gon's adaptive style of teaching. As the years passed, the bond between Anakin and Obi-Wan deepened under the guidance of Qui-Gon. Anakin continued to flourish in this environment. His far superior Force talent and his constantly building enthusiasm propelled him forward as a young Jedi, helping master lightsaber techniques with a natural ease that left even Qui-Gon impressed. He thrived on the early missions, seeking out every opportunity to push his limits, embodying the hope and the promise of the Jedi Order, but also taking after Qui-Gon when it came to listening to the living Force and questioning the decisions of the Senate or the Council. But as Anakin continued to grow, Obi-Wan struggled to keep pace. While he did display outstanding dedication to learning, along with expert intelligence, his progress felt stunted next to Anakin's rapid development. Doubt began to creep into his thoughts as he compared their journeys for his entire life.
Is Obi-Wan gonna be the one leading more to the dark side in this? What if?
Obi-Wan felt like he was in Anakin's shadow,
That'd be interesting.
and some were whispering that Anakin may even be the chosen one. Obi-Wan's own attempts at mastering the Force were often met with frustration, and despite his efforts, Obi-Wan found himself questioning his suitability as a Padawan, wrestling with the nagging thought that maybe he would be better served under a new master who could recognize and nurture his own strengths, separating him from always being with Anakin. Qui-Gon sensed the tension between the brothers, and he often stepped in to balance their dynamic. He would encourage Anakin to support Obi-Wan, fostering an atmosphere of camaraderie rather than rivalry.
Good idea.
Anakin and Obi-Wan were still very close, and they knew they should work together, but they were competitive with each other at such a young age. As the bond between the brothers grew stronger, Obi-Wan's frustrations remained, igniting a desire within him to seek out a new master, one who could guide him through his trials more effectively. He envisioned the possibility of a fresh start, a new path that might lead to a better understanding of himself and his abilities. However, before Obi-Wan could pursue this further, their training led them in a new mission. Protect Duchess Satine of Mandalore. Satine was leading the new age of peaceful Mandalorians against the sect of Mandalorians that preferred the traditional ways, and bounty hunters were all over, being sent after her constantly. Satine was hiding out in Mandalore's sewers and lower levels when she called out for Jedi aid, and to her aid came Qui-Gon, Anakin, and Obi-Wan. The protection of Satine on Mandalore began with Anakin and Obi-Wan, both 20 years old and bound by their commitment to the Jedi Order, finding themselves caught in a conflict that was as much about survival as it was about their duty to the Jedi. Mandalore was divided, and the two Jedi were dispatched to protect Satine, while Qui-Gon was negotiating with both sides. They all lived hand to mouth, moving from one makeshift hideout to another, always vigilant, always wary of the bounty hunters being sent to take care of Satine. The trio evaded capture time and time again, relying on Obi-Wan's strategic mind, Anakin's instinctive plans. Each day was a test of their skills and their friendship, their camaraderie, their ability to work together. But as they fought side by side, an interesting bit of tension began to take hold.
What?
Anakin found himself captivated by Satine's strength and determination.
What's-
Her vision for
Oh, Anakin might fall in love with her. Okay.
peace igniting something deep within him. Yet he noticed the way her eyes sparkled when she looked at Obi-Wan, admiration and respect.
Oh no, I feel like I know where this is going. She's maybe gonna fall in love with Obi-Wan, while Anakin's gonna fall in love with her, and then that's gonna spark some problems.
Mingling into something deeper for her. As weeks turned into months, Anakin's feelings only intensified, clashing with the reality that they may not be there for her after all. Satine's laughter made Anakin so happy in all of the moments they shared, but it was always Obi-Wan who drew her attention in the end. Obi-Wan tried to remain stoic and reserved,
Anakin, don't worry, you'll probably find Padme or some shit.
but he soon couldn't help but reveal his true feelings.
Actually, no, him with Padme... No, wait. Him and Padme in this universe would be probably better, because now they're way closer in age than they were.
Towards Satine. Just like Anakin, he felt something that he'd never felt before. Genuine romantic feelings. The year dragged on, and the conflict began to wane as the Jedi helped bring an end to the Mandalorian Civil War.
Okay.
Amongst the chaos, Satine and Obi-Wan's relationship blossomed into a romance that was dangerous but inevitable for the two of them. They stole moments together whenever Anakin was on watch, holding each other, laughing, talking about the Jedi, Mandalore, the galaxy.
Are they gonna, like,
the
get married in this universe? And... because they didn't, originally, so...
politics of it all, and if this could be something real. Each instance felt like a betrayal, a reminder of what Obi-Wan could not have. And Anakin knew it was happening, despite all of his efforts to pretend he didn't see it. But Anakin soon found himself being happy for Obi-Wan, rather
That's
than
good.
jealous. As they approached the end of their mission, Mandalore was peaceful once more. The traditionalists were pushed away for now, and the Jedi were preparing to leave Mandalore after this year. On the final night, Obi-Wan pulled Anakin aside, and he asked for advice from his brother. Obi-Wan said he was in a position he never expected. He loved Satine, and his time as a Jedi was not fulfilling so far. He asked Anakin what
It
he
was
should do,
fulfilling.
and Anakin urged Obi-Wan to follow his heart. If he loved Satine, then it would be wrong not to be with her. And so Obi-Wan made his choice, informing Qui-Gon that he is officially leaving the Jedi Order to be with
What?
Satine. Qui-Gon was surprised, but even he could sense something between the two of them, and so he did not stop it from happening. Instead, Qui-Gon and Anakin would wish Obi-Wan luck as he went on his own path.
Thing is, he's probably... I feel like Obi-Wan is still gonna train himself and become more powerful than he is. And, if a war comes, clone or something like that, he might, come in and help.
Eventually, someday, Obi-Wan stood on the balcony of his estate on Mandalore, the evening sun casting a warm glow on his face. It had been 2 years since he'd left the Jedi Order to marry Satine, and he felt a mix of contentment and unease. For Obi-Wan, the whispers of the Force grew louder every day, often pulling him into contemplative states that left him yearning for new guidance. The once clear path of the Jedi seemed clouded now, filled with shadows.
Oh no, is this maybe push him more towards Sith? I hope he trains more, but not with a Sith.
Of doubt, the weight of responsibility, as he was caring for Satine, who had so many rivals, and they now had a child on the way. Obi-Wan knew he would do anything to protect them. In the midst of his time on Mandalore, he received a holographic message from Higo Damask, a charismatic figure who'd been intrigued with him for
Oh no. Oh no, Obi-Wan, please don't become a Sith.
months.
Plagueis.
Damask, also known as Darth Plagueis, had been watching Obi-Wan for years. Damask knew that the jealousy and the power Obi-Wan held within him was extremely intriguing, and so Damask found Obi-Wan after he left the Order, offering to teach him about the politics of the galaxy,
Great.
now that he's married a Duchess. Obi-Wan accepted as he had free time, and under Damask's mentorship, Obi-Wan would learn the nuances of political maneuvering, all about the corruption that plagued not only the Senate of the Republic, but also the Jedi Council. Obi-Wan quickly felt a connection to Damask, a bond that deepened with each lesson, as they discussed strategies to protect Mandalore from the encroaching threat of another war. And yet, an underlying tension gnawed at Obi-Wan. It was like a silent warning that he chose to ignore, as Damask was using his position with the banking clan to help fund a new infrastructure here on Mandalore. As the months passed, Obi-Wan found himself drawn deeper into Damask's world, where the dark side of the Force lived. One evening, after an intense session of discussion, Damask finally revealed the truth, behind his mysteriousness. He spoke of unlocking deeper powers, securing peace through strength. The implications resonated within Obi-Wan, who grappled with the idea that such power could be the key to safeguarding Satine and his new life.
Obi-Wan, please
The
don't.
conflict within him intensified through the months. The very principles he once vowed to uphold seemed to waver under the weight of his desire to protect his family. He was no longer a Jedi, and these offers from Damask were tempting. Eventually, Damask hinted at a new meeting on Mandalore, a significant moment that would require Obi-Wan's full commitment to this new path. Obi-Wan hesitated, but felt a real trust in Damask, coupled with a growing sense of dread about the future. He thought of Anakin, the brother he had left behind in the Order. The two of them still talked at least once a month, and they truly missed each other. Anakin was thriving under Qui-Gon's teachings. The bond between them had always been strong, and despite the physical distance, he could sense Obi-Wan's unease through the Force, and in a desperation of what to do,
Visit him.
Obi-Wan attempted to reach out to Anakin, and as they talked, Obi-Wan was still unable to ask for help. And unbeknownst to Obi-Wan, Plagueis had been observing from the shadows, orchestrating events to draw Anakin closer as well. There was an ultimate test coming. The moment was upon them, and Plagueis wanted to test Obi-Wan's true powers, hidden deep inside of him. Anakin could sense something was wrong, terribly wrong, and so he decided to go visit his brother.
I don't like where this is
When
going.
Anakin finally arrived on Mandalore, he made his way to Obi-Wan's home, where a droid informed him that Obi-Wan was down underneath the building in a meeting. So Anakin followed directions down to find Obi-Wan, and he was met with a scene that sent chills down his spine.
What?
There stood Obi-Wan, flanked by Higo Damask, who subtly radiated pure darkness beneath his charm.
Okay.
Anakin's heart raced as he felt the dark currents swirling around them. His brother, one so strong in the light, now seemed to have a darkness. Plagueis, sensing Anakin's arrival, shifted around the atmosphere, welcoming the confrontation with a delight.
Okay.
He presented Obi-Wan with a twisted test. Kill Anakin. Prove himself worthy.
Oh shit! No, please, no. Obi-Wan. Come on, he's gonna choose Anakin, right?
Worthy of the powers he so long wanted to attain, or watch as everything he cherished fall into chaos, and the Sith kill Satine and their child. The weight of the decision bore down on Obi-Wan, the love for his brother clashing violently with the allure and temptations of the dark side. Confusion washed over him, every instinct screaming to protect Anakin, yet a part of him yearned for the power that Plagueis promised. Anakin stepped forward, his heart pounding as he faced Obi-Wan and the presence of Plagueis, and with every ounce of conviction, Anakin called out, reminding Obi-Wan of the bond that they'd forged over the years of training and brotherhood.
Come on, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan hesitated, the echoes of their past flashing through his mind, countless sparring sessions, moments of laughter, the deep connection that always guided him, their intense but loving rivalry, and Anakin urged him, saying, we can fight this Sith. Stepping closer, his gaze unwavering, as he told him that together they could protect Satine and everyone they care about, urging Obi-Wan not to let Plagueis manipulate him. They know how to resist the dark side. Plagueis smirked, ready to exploit their division, and Obi-Wan's conflict began to solidify. He looked at Anakin, seeing not just his brother, but a friend, forged in the fires of their conflict.
Come on.
And it was like a moment of clarity just overcame Obi-Wan in this moment. He ignited his lightsaber. Anakin followed suit, and the two brothers now stood shoulder to shoulder, facing down the powerful Plagueis. For the Sith, this was always a side project with great upside. He knew if it all failed, he could just kill the Jedi. Obi-Wan would have been an excellent asset.
I don't know if these two are special.
To undermine the Jedi Order, but he had other ideas, and now he had to destroy this loose end. Plagueis moved like a shadow to attack the two Jedi. Anakin and Obi-Wan got back to back, defending each other, their movements fluid and calculated, as Plagueis tried to swarm them. Anakin, fueled by his great power and determination, struck back first, his lightsaber slicing through the air with a blue arc. Plagueis countered effortlessly, a smile forming on his lips as he parried Anakin's blow, then shot lightning between the two of them, forcing them to separate. Obi-Wan capitalized on this moment, darting at Plagueis with a series of quick swings, his form measured as he spent his time on Mandalore perfecting his fighting style.
Oh, yes, that's good. He actually continued training, so he is, powerful.
The two brothers complemented each other perfectly. Anakin's aggressive style met Obi-Wan's defensive mastery, and they were elite together. Plagueis found himself losing, the relentless assault forcing him to adapt to their teamwork. But he retaliated, with another move of firing bolts of energy that arced dangerously close to both Jedi. The ground beneath them was ripped apart as he unleashed waves of more lightning, but Anakin and Obi-Wan helped each other to avoid the onslaught. As the battle raged on, Anakin and Obi-Wan executed a series of flanking moves, Obi-Wan guiding Anakin to exploit openings in Plagueis' defenses. And with a final, perfect thrust, they struck simultaneously, Anakin's blue blade cutting through the air, while Obi-Wan's plunged through Plagueis' chest. The Sith Lord gasped, stumbling backwards, as Anakin finished the job, and the two of them stood victorious. When it was over, the two of them were kind of in shock, but they were able to track Plagueis' footsteps back to his ship, where a droid was waiting. Before the droid could go through its automatic reset, Anakin jumped to it, beginning to rewire the droid, until it was willing to give the brothers all the information they needed. And the droid knew everything. They would bring this droid back to the Jedi Council together, and before long, Senator Palpatine would be arrested, and Maul would be taken captive as well, from the Sith lair on Coruscant. The Jedi, thanks to Anakin and Obi-Wan, found out about the Sith, and they were securely locked up immediately. With the galaxy seemingly safe once more, Obi-Wan would still live on Mandalore, with Satine and his child. But Mandalore would begin re-entering the Republic to work more often with the Jedi. Anakin would continue to grow as a Jedi, soon becoming a knight and growing in balance for years. He and Obi-Wan would visit each other often, remembering old stories of home, the temple, years of training together, and they looked upon a galaxy that could have been so much worse had Obi-Wan chosen the wrong path for many years to come. And folks, that is our story for today.
Wow. Just... No, 10 out of 10. 10 out of goddamn 10. I fucking love this what if. It is beautiful. I'm just... Wow. I love it. I love how it's completely just centralized and focused on Anakin and Obi-Wan. The alternate universe here is just absolutely super cool. Love it. Love how it's also focused on Plagueis. You know, we don't see much of Palpatine here, so it's focused on Plagueis as the Sith. A lot about Obi-Wan as well. Kind of alternate Obi-Wan, different Obi-Wan version. Just, I love it. So, great what if, 10 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would rate this what if out of 10 if you agree with my 10 out of 10 rating, or if you don't, and why. And yeah, that's it, 10 out of 10.
Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure to go subscribe to the Star Wars Galaxy for more awesome what if content. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Remember, a new Star Wars what if reaction drops every single day. Join our Discord server, the link's in the description. Also, if you want to support the channel and get exclusive perks, consider joining our Patreon. Huge thanks to all our amazing patrons for your support. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video, so drop a comment with feedback or let me know which Star Wars what if I should react to next. Thanks again for watching. This is the way, and may the Force be with you. Until then, I will see you next time.
Hey, you didn't watch it? Well, check out the video on the left side of the screen, which is specifically recommended for you, or check out the playlist on the right of the screen, which contains similar videos to this one, made by me, of course. Hey, remember, subscribe.